What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am building an EJ, or a couple EJ motors. I got one right over here and another one right over here. And I kind of figured, why not make a video? I know there's a bunch of videos, but why not make another video showing just kind of, you know, the way I put these motors together. So this is going to be a multi-part video series, I guess. Because there is just way too much to cover in one video. So basically, I'm at the stage where I am taking measurements of the main bearings, which is one of the most critical components. So I've already kind of started that. I've got these mostly assembled and I've got them mostly mic'd down. I did make a few changes to bearing number 3 and number 4 on this block, so I'm putting it back together to double check that. And on this one, it's pretty much ready to go. All the bearings are to my liking as far as the measurement goes. So I've already got the crank set up for this one, and I'm going to be measuring the pistons next. So here's the crank, Manley H-beams. Unfortunately, I've already mic'd and assembled this, so I can't really take it apart and show you, but I could definitely do that in a later video. So yeah, I'm kind of in the stage of torquing the block halves together appropriately. So basically, whenever you're doing work with engines or bearings, you want to make sure that the ambient temperature and the temperature of the items being measured is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I said about, but actually, you know, exactly 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm on the second part of torquing this block down. There's a very extensive factory torque sequence. I typically follow the factory recommended sequences whenever I'm torquing blocks, rods, heads, whatever. So I can, you know, I'd be willing to provide those if you need them. Just send me a message and I can get you hooked up with those. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this started. So I like to use these Snap-on digital torque wrenches. These things are super expensive, but really, really awesome. Basically, there's just a sequence to tightening these bolts. A sequence that I've memorized. Alright, so I'm on the final stage of torquing these down, which is an angle measurement. And basically, you want to have a good torque wrench that can read angle. Alright, so the block's all torqued down, and now I can accurately take measurements of the main bearings and, you know, swap them out if I have to, or move them around and do what I need to do. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and that is going to be definitely another video, not this one necessarily, because I do use a dial bore gauge, and setting this up can be a little bit difficult. So, you know, I could probably make a whole video just on setting that up. So I'm going to focus on that later. So let me take some measurements and we'll get back to it. Alright, so I just finished taking measurements and mixing around some bearings, and I got the clearances where I want them. On mains, I typically like to shoot for about 1.5 thousandths. You know, and that might not mean anything to you, but, you know, this is just something that you kind of learn as you start to do this. So yeah, I shoot for about 1.5 thousandths on the mains, and then on the rods, I like to do between 1.5 to 2.5 thousandths, just depending on the type of build and, you know, whatever it's going to be used for. So yeah, I'm going to take this apart and start laying in the crank with the rods and, you know, move along on this build. So I don't really know if that's something I can explain, like clearancing rods and blocks and bearings, but if it's something you guys are interested in, I could definitely make a video on that. So yeah, let me take this block apart basically the same way I put it back together and show you what the inside looks like. Alright, so this is the block torn back down. I just cleaned the mating surface with a little bit of brake clean. I'm using a race bearing, and basically this crank is gonna lay into this block, and then I'm gonna torque everything back together. There are some O-rings that you need to not forget about. Also, basically this whole thing is held together with silicone. So yeah, I will show you how to do that and put the block together now. Alright, so next you're going to drop in these O-rings that I mentioned earlier. There is 4 total, and those come in the gasket set. I usually purchase the complete Subaru gasket sets when I do a motor. It just makes it easier to have everything all at once. And then after that you're going to silicone the block halves together. So let me see if I can get a good angle here. I like to use black FIPG gasket maker for this. It's just a preference, really. There's tons of other colors and types you can use. This is just the one I prefer and the one I've been using for quite a while. So yeah, basically you just go around the entire block and in various other areas, and that way when you sandwich the block together, this area will not leak oil. So yeah, I'm gonna put this on. It's gonna take a little bit, and then you can check it out before I lay the block halves together. Alright, so the crank is in, and basically the next step is to, while balancing 2 and 4, you want to put this top section of the block on top and bolt it all together. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get a good angle of that. Alright, so that is all together. Now I'm going to start putting bolts in and tying it just like we did before. So yeah, you can kind of see. Alright, so the block is pretty much back together, all sealed up anyways. And the next step is going to be pistons and piston rings. I've already sized pistons for this block, so all I really need to do is piston rings and then insert the pistons and assemble them. I think this will be the first part of this I guess series, just because piston ring sizing is quite a process by itself, and I think I can go pretty in depth with that. So this is where I'm going to call it. We'll pick this up again tomorrow, and yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you later.